to move from fear to freedom. Welcome back to the Path to Purpose podcast with Dr. Katja Rusanen. In today's episode, we are exploring another inspiring journey, offering expert tips to help you live your purpose. Are you ready to be inspired? I'm super excited to introduce our guest, Evakarin Wallin, who is the creator of the expansion method, the author of the From Inner Limits to Outer Success. She's known internationally as the Queen of Transformation because she helps her audience and clients release what is holding them back and rewire their minds so they can easily step up their game and grow their business. In this interview, we will explore how to move from fear to freedom. So stay tuned. Welcome, Evakarin. I'm so excited you are here.
Thank you so much, Katja. I'm so excited to be here with you as well.
And I'm just curious because you have been guest here before, and now you have this new book that came out. And was there a special event that led you on this path and focusing on helping people with fear specifically?
Well, because I was stuck in fears so much. And it's so funny because, it has been so close to me. So I didn't even see it at first. I needed to have someone to mirror that for me, that I was talking about releasing fears. And most of all, I was talking about releasing my fears. And it was I had a, really interesting experience once, because fear to me, it feels like I've been afraid of everything in my life and still have this inner strive of moving forward and change things. So I was putting myself in what I felt was fearful situation. I mean, they were not dangerous, but it felt, inside a lot of fear. And at one point I decided to have to release that pattern of, fear of no reason, just because, and I was working with that and releasing it, and I could feel it in like a knot in my stomach. And it's like, and at one point I felt like, how much energy you actually have to come back over and over and over again. But I kept on going, and suddenly I had this image of a tiny creature in my belly. It was hungry, cold, and afraid. I thought, oh my gosh, no wonder that I feel the fear. So in my mind, I held it, I fed it, I kept it warm. And you know what happened? Suddenly, that creature grow into, what do you call it? Security guard, standing, okay, I'm going to look out for if there's any fear, I'm going to tell you. That was how it felt. And for the first time in my life, I felt the absence of fear.
Wow.
The absence of fear. Never felt that before. It was empty. And then it's so amazing because every time that a big shift happens on the inside, I mean, big shift is happening on the outside. And this was in December. So then I went on holiday over December. And in the beginning of January, I was still thinking about, okay, I need to do some more marketing. What should I do? Between the 5th and the 10th of January, I got 5 new clients. And it just happened. It was almost like they fell into my lap. I just happened to speak to people and they asked me. I didn't ask. And these are the things that happen when you shift on a deep level, when this pattern actually disappears. And it feels also, even before this, I felt like fear is so misunderstood because most people, they don't want to feel it. So they do anything to avoid feeling it. Or as I've done that tons and tons of times. And also the opposite, that believing what the fear is telling me is true about me. And that is not a constructive way of doing fear. fear is just telling you something about you. And when you can reach down to the subconscious mind and see what is it about, you create awareness thanks to the fear. And then you can actually do something about it to change it, release it, whatever you want to do with it.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing a very personal journey, and also how you experienced fear, because I feel that is a very common thing. So many coaches, healers, light workers, the messengers of light who have that calling have that fear that sometimes even paralyzes them to share their work, share their message. And yet they have that calling, like you also had, like you felt something was pulling you forward, and then the fear was kind of holding you back. So as you have worked with yourself and your clients, what are the main reasons you would say that many spiritual coaches, healers, and light workers have that fear of sharing their message, sharing their work with the world?
Yes, because we have our wounds, and that is also why most people become coaches or healers, because we have our wounds, and maybe we don't see it within ourselves, we see it in other people. So it's like a projection. You want to help the other person because you feel pain inside you. And that is just a message from you to you, from one part of you to another part of you, that you have something that needs to be addressed. And it's important to see that there's nothing wrong with this. This is the way the human life works. So we might feel like we're not fitting in, like me, big time, not being worthy, me too, not being good enough, and all these kind of things that is deep wounds that we learned from early age. Maybe we brought it from our parents or grandparents, that is brought onto us, and it's painful to feel it, but it's also an opportunity to receive a gift. And as children, we start to behave in certain ways to be able to belong, to feel loved, to feel worthy. But somehow we, at the same time, we distance ourselves from who we truly are. We look at a baby, a well, healthy baby, feels just, this is me, take care of me. I can scream and wake you up in the middle of the night because something is not feeling good inside. I don't care. But when you start to create a personality, you start to understand that I have to behave this way or that way to be able to please the people around me, my mother and father. And then you distance yourself from yourself, and you create this pattern of behaving, and you keep it as an adult. And as an adult, you create life experiences. Then you start to create awareness, and you have the possibility to see what it actually is. A child doesn't have that possibility. So when you as an adult start to look at your shadows, the parts of you don't want to look at, you have the possibility to heal. And then you will it's like life gives you more dimensions to live in. And I can see myself before I went into this world, my life was flat. It was just a 3-dimensional level. And while starting doing this inner work, it's like it is richer in so many ways. And also by releasing this stuff, I come closer to who I am. I'm still not fitting in, but I own it now. I don't need to fit in because I'm fitting into myself.
Love it. Yeah, and that is, and thank you for sharing those common fears and feelings sometimes we carry within us when we don't express them because we feel even that feels raw and vulnerable to say that I feel I don't fit in. And we then feel it within, but we are not expressing these things. And I often say, like when I work with clients and I do something similar with them, so holding the light, because when we have those fears, and I would love to hear your feedback as well on this, because I often share this metaphor like touching a hot stove. Like often as a child, we do touch a hot stove, even we are told not to, but we just want to test how it is. And then we get burned and we pull our hand away. And that's often what happens with fears too. We do not want to go there. So that's why working with someone like you is often helpful to hold that container. So, of course, that might be the biggest reason we don't want to go there. We don't want to deal with the fears. Have you seen any other ways that or mistakes what people make when it comes to fears?
So yeah, for instance, judging themselves or someone else or something else. That is a big mistake.
That is a big one because it gets heavier and heavier. Like,
Yeah. So I've been practicing myself to avoid talking about positive, negative, good, or bad, because those words are judging something.
yeah.
But I can talk about, especially when I work with people, I really don't like when people talk about, I have this negative feeling, because it's unpleasant. Totally. I agree with that. But what is negative about something that knocks on your door and tells there's something you need to bring attention to here? Isn't that beautiful? So, several years ago, there was a house connected to our house that was on fire, and someone was banging on the door and told us that we had to get out. The fire people were here and helping that other house, but it could easily spread to our house because it was so close. I mean, the fears are like that. They're banging on the door. I mean, I opened the door and we got out. Thankfully, our house was saved, so that's all good. But imagine if I didn't want to listen to those bad news, we could have risked our lives.
Yeah.
That's, standing in our or staying in our house. So these are the fears are knocking on your door. And if you don't listen, they're gonna knock harder and harder and harder until you listen. It can show up in so many different ways. First, you feel it inside of you, and then I can take me as an example again, where I was, flying high in my business, and then my fear came for no reason. It felt like, and I couldn't do anything about it. It just kept, especially at night when I was about to go to sleep, it just took over. And what happened with my business? It went down, 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 down. And what happened when I released the fear? It suddenly started slowly but surely go up. And that is what happens. And it's a bit of lag time to see the shifts in the three-dimensional world. So that's why people might not be able to trust that it works this way, because we don't see an instant result. But the three-dimensional level isn't as quick as, our thoughts and our feelings. They can come, in a second, less than a second.
Yeah, I love that. And thank you for sharing this. It's again like giving this perspective. And you started talking about the release. So can you talk now? People are like, yes, I recognize I have fears, and the fears also start really restricting your life. It gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So when you want to claim that freedom for you to be who you are, do what you love, so how can we do that? Like, I know you talk about effortless release, so I'd love to hear more about that.
Yes, because I needed it. I needed to, find simple tools. I like what's simple and what works. So I was doing shadow work, and I loved it, but I still wanted to find an easier way to make the ship go faster and easier. So it took me a few years, and then I discovered the expansion method, which is the main tool that I use. And it's actually by connecting to higher consciousness. It's actually not me doing the work, it's higher consciousness that does the work in combination with the person I work with. And we bypass the logical brain and go directly into the body, because the body is the one part of you that's always present. And it's the one part of you that contains your history. It contains your traumas, memories, everything that you need to address, all the patterns from that was brought into you. So by listening to the body and let the body speak, and it speaks by emotions, I connect to higher consciousness, and the body feels like, now someone is listening to me. I can let go of this. So that is the effortless release.
Nice. I love that. And now, when somebody is maybe on their journey, tapping into, first of all, acknowledging the fears and then starting that effortless release, what is one thing? How can they get started on that? Like, how can they? Of course, I would recommend reach out to Evakarin and work with her. So, but if they want to, like, okay, what can they do on their own?
Number one, practice tuning into their body and notice how it feels. And you can just put your hands on your chest area, your stomach, or somewhere on your body to bring your awareness down from your head down to your body, and just be curious and just ask yourself, how do I feel inside? Is it pleasant or unpleasant? And if you find a spot that is unpleasant, I mean, if it's pleasant, enjoy it, of course. But if it's unpleasant, just be curious. Say, what is going on here? Did something trigger this? Is it a habit? What is it? What do I feel inside of me? And just be curious. Don't try to figure things out. And whatever shows up, just accept it. I accept to have a heavy knot in my stomach right now. That is a great start.
Nice.
And not judging it as wrong for being there, just accept it, embrace it. And you can even thank it for giving you awareness. Because even though it feels unpleasant, it's not your enemy. It is a friend, but a friend in disguise.
And I love that you brought gratitude in, because that often also uplifts the energy. It uplifts the spirit. Because when we tap into that gratitude and saying thank you, because again, it is everything you can use for your learning, growth, and upliftment. So even fears, they are there. They are also messengers in their own way, and they have messages for us, and that we can use them for us instead of thinking they are against us.
Exactly.
And you have given us a lot to think about today, and I know you put together a special gift for my audience. So to take what we have been talking in here to next level and go deeper with you. So can you share a little bit of the gift that you want to offer?
Absolutely. It's called the Living Beyond Your Fear framework, and it's 4 steps. And it's so easy to get trapped into what success looks like. money and cars and houses and stuff like that. But you have to find your own definition of success. And your path, 100% believe that your path lies in your heart. And to be able to find that and walk that path is going to make your life the most fulfilled life. It's not going to be easy because you have to face the patterns that was installed into you, but it's going to be the most rewarding. That is absolutely my belief. And then when you tune into, I mean, if you look at where you want to go, what do you want to create? Just imagine how you would feel if you were at that place already. And that you need to step into the feeling of that to actually be that before you get it. And I remember a time when I decided I was not happy. I just broke up with my boyfriend and I was crying, and suddenly came to a point where I said, no, I'm going to be happy no matter what. And I had to fake it for a few days, and then it came naturally, and then good stuff happened too. But what that also does to you is it brings up the past, whatever you carry that keeps you stuck at the level you're at. So it's like a two-way thing. So when you raise your level, you will bring this stuff up. I actually had a client today. It was our first session, and he has a cleaning company. And he said first, yeah, I feel so good when you say that, what he wanted to move into. Said, okay. And it was about 50% good. Said, yeah, okay, if you have a client and you clean their house to 50%, your client is not going to be satisfied. You have to clean the other 50% as well. So it's so important to look at those things and really allow them to come up to the surface to be able to shift them. So it's a two-way thing. And in this free gift, I made some ideas of what the body might tell you, depending on where you feel it in your body. And also a reminder of how to release it effortless, acceptance, forgiveness, gratefulness, and then continue to focus forward to where you want to go. It's so, imagine you hit your toe when you walk across the floor, and suddenly the pain in the toe is the only thing you think of, even though the rest of the body feels fine. So that is what we usually do when we have a problem. We get obsessed with it and we talk about it and we feel it and, go on and on. Stop doing those things, but do the same thing with the vision you have, to be in it over and over and over again, because that will pull you forward into it.
Beautiful. So check the gift. The link is in the comments below. And now, as we start wrapping up here, do you have a special message that you would like to share?
A special message. Yeah, the fear is your friend, and miracles are waiting on the other side of obstacles.
Wow. Powerful way to finish this. So thank you so much, Evakarin, for sharing your valuable insights with us today. And if you found this interview helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. And don't forget to check out the previous episodes too. So thank you, Evakarin, and thank you for tuning in. I'm sending you lots of light, lots of love. Bye for now.